Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, in the description of this video and in the comments section, you'll see a link where you can go and sign up for my newsletter. And as you see here, I'm going to, in my newsletter at the beginning of each month, I'm going to send out an email and let you know what digital assets that I'm interested in at that time, as well as any other investments like pre-IPO equity type investments in blockchain, as well as if gold and silver, if I'm doing that kind of thing. I'm just going to let you know. So go subscribe. I haven't decided yet about whether I'm going to close this thing off at about 1,000 subscribers, but so far I think we're at about 200 so far. So go and sign up, and I think that you will enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. And I got in trouble with my wife last night because she and my two sons said that all I ever talk about is XRP. One time I heard Miguel Valles in an interview say something similar, like his wife says all he ever talks about is XRP. And many of us that are in social media, and the people I've talked to, it's a common thing. You get sucked into this thing because the reason you get sucked into it is because everything about it makes so much sense. If you've been studying finance or reading about finance for any period of time, everything makes so much, it's like an aha moment when you arrive at this. And it's kind of like the way that our entire financial system has been built, this idea of debt and not being on a gold standard and all this, it all comes together in your mind. And that, I think, is what really sucks in. And because then the next step is you start thinking, well, if this is what I think it is, the opportunity here is an unbelievable thing. And I've tried to explain these things to my wife and my kids, and to make them understand, say, listen, you just got to hang with me here because we're going next level with this. And that's what this is about. So you just got to trust me. And they give me the typical response, I just don't understand it, and all that. But that's what I'm here for. Watch my videos. But believe it or not, my wife does not watch my videos because I don't know why, but it makes her nervous. I guess it's kind of like when you go to a play and your kid's on stage, you're almost cringing. You're too nervous to watch. I think it's kind of like that. But anyway, so just wanted to let you know, I do get in trouble for talking about this too much. Okay, now I want to start here. This is a very significant tweet right here. Iron Halo sent this out. Current crypto market cap is $346 billion. Now this was sent out at 7:52 this morning. Current crypto market cap's at $346 billion. It hasn't been over $350 to $351 billion since May of 2018, and that's when I started my channel, by the way, and has had 2 failed attempts at beating that level since. Well, guess what, folks? Coin market cap, $355 billion. We have arrived. It did beat it. And so that's where we are. Now, Mr. B reminded us this morning in a tweet, and if you don't follow him, he's at XRP Mister. He reminded us that 2020, the year of the digital asset, which is what Team Ripple said, there's 146 days, 17 hours, 48 minutes, and 23 seconds left until December 31st of 2020. And what he's referring to here is this article that was put out by Ripple December 19th, 2019. 2020, the year of the digital asset. So I'm really glad that somebody's keeping this clock out there and watching this. Now, over the last, I've really noticed it in the last week or two, we have started to see all of the articles come about how everybody all of a sudden is concerned, has real concerns over whether the dollar could lose its status as the world reserve currency. And it's important for those of you that don't know, the U.S. status as the world reserve currency means everything for U.S. citizens, because everything that the prices that you pay for things would be much more expensive if you didn't have the world reserve currency status. But I wanted to trot out some of the things that people have been saying in the articles, and all this big people. Goldman here. Goldman raises gold and silver forecast on real concerns about the dollar as the reserve currency. Now, before I go into all of this, I want to make sure you understand where I'm coming from here. I don't think that this is something that the U.S. hasn't been preparing for. I think they've been preparing for it for a decade, if not 2 to 3 decades. Because, and I'll kind of go through it here and explain to those of you that don't know the gist of it. But Goldman raises gold and silver forecast on real concerns. And then there was this today: as dollar slides, some investors fret about its status as a world's reserve currency. And then this is Ray Dalio, who's a genius from that started Bridgewater Associates. Listen to what he says.
As far as the short-term debt cycle or the business cycle, we're 10 years into this expansion, and many of those stimulants that happen will be dissipating. We won't have more interest rate cuts that are material. You won't have more tax cuts and so on. And this is true around the world as we have our obligations. So we're coming into this period that is sort of a big sag, not a debt crisis in that way, but a lot of obligations that are coming at us, particularly in the mature reserve currency countries. And they include pension obligations, healthcare obligations, and the like, large deficits which will have to be monetized. They'll print money to deal with that. There's a reserve currency issue. And then, of course, we have the external conflict or the issues of the rising of a great power in the form of China rising and the United States having its let's say, relative decline. So we're at a point, I think, that is very similar to 1944. There's a war, and
Bretton
a war
Woods.
after a period of war, there's a period which there's a peace because nobody wants to fight the country that has and won the war, and there's a new world order. And there was a new monetary system. 1944, we established the dollar, reserve currency-based monetary system, and the like. And I think that all of those is going to really change the world order in dramatic ways in the next 10 years.
Okay. Now, I think that was maybe earlier this year or last year when he made these comments. But I want to make sure everybody listening understands the Bretton Woods. Everything has to do with the Bretton Woods system when it comes to the dollar as the world reserve currency. Because when they did Bretton Woods in 1944, the Bretton Woods Agreement, you'll see right here, a bunch of countries basically got together. You can see here, setting up a system of rules, institutions, and procedures to regulate the international monetary system. These accords established, they literally established the IMF right here, and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which is now known as the World Bank. The United States, which controlled 2/3 of the world's gold at the time, insisted that the Bretton Woods system rest on both gold and the U.S. dollar. So this is where they made the U.S. dollar the world reserve currency, because it was tied to gold. Then, on 15th August 1971, the U.S. unilaterally terminated convertibility of the U.S. dollar to gold, effectively bringing Bretton Woods system to an end and rendering the dollar a fiat currency. At the same time, many fixed currencies such as the pound sterling also became free floating. They all, from that point forward, were tied to nothing. And so that's what's allowed all of these governments to do all this money printing, and it's because it's not tied to anything. Okay. So, but what's important that you understand, because what we're being sold right now is this idea that, oh, well, yeah, the U.S. is caught flat-footed, and we could lose our status as the world reserve currency. No, that is not what has happened here. I believe that for the last decade or 2 or 3 decades, that not just the U.S., but China and everyone has been planning towards this. And I believe that it has everything to do with digital assets. Everything, not some, everything. So, and I can kind of prove it here. We have, I can't even hardly count how many different Bretton Woods organizations that there are. And every time you see one of these people at one of these Bretton Woods organizations, it doesn't matter what they're talking about. They're there, like this one's called the Bretton Woods Committee. All of these people are there. It has everything to do with gold and the US dollar as the world reserve currency. That is the whole point of having these organizations that are called Bretton Woods anything. That is the issue. It's the elephant in the center of the room, is gold standard / US dollar as the world reserve currency. And if it can't maintain it, what's going to happen going forward? That is the whole point. So listen to this is just a short clip from Steve Mnuchin. They're talking about his negotiations with China.
Between the two countries.
So one issue that's specifically important to Treasury is currency, of course, and I think you and the President have said how it's important that one aspect of this agreement limit the ability of China to devalue for competitive purposes. Can you tell me what you're trying to achieve there and what progress you've made?
I think we've made a lot of progress on the currency chapter. I think that this chapter is basically complete. Again, I think it would be inappropriate for me to comment on all the specifics of it, but you've highlighted, the most important issue is that there are G20 commitments, whether it's China or other countries. We expect that people will honor their commitments not to devalue their currency for competitive purposes.
So, in other words, you...
All right. I just wanted you to hear that short little clip. Now, I've played this before. This was Bretton Woods 75, the 75th anniversary of Bretton Woods, where they're having a debate, and they're having a debate. Now, remember all the key people here, folks. This is Perianne Boring, founder and president of the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Remember, the guy who's in charge of the Digital Dollar Project, Christian Carlo, is one of the advisors at the Chamber of Digital Commerce. We've also seen Brad Garlinghouse not more than a month ago speak at the Chamber of Digital Commerce, one of those virtual events. We've seen Brad Garlinghouse on the cover of the Chamber of Digital Commerce's DC Blockchain Week on their website, and then he goes and speaks there. We've seen him interviewed by Chris Brummer, who's in Washington, D.C., and as I recall, it was like at DC FinTech Week, and it's all sponsored by the Chamber of Digital Commerce. These people are, but anyway, this is a debate. What should our global reserve currency be? Featuring distinct viewpoints. And she's arguing the viewpoint that it should be a digital asset. Watch this.
I'll start with a quote from Hu Jintao, who served as the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China. The current international currency system is a product of the past. The global financial system has evolved radically in the past 75 years. I'm sure what the creators of the Bretton Woods system could have ever imagined. With the introduction of advanced technologies like blockchain, the next 75 years are going to be transformed even more so than the last.
So anyway, she's just going to argue right here that the new world reserve currency, and look, when we're talking about world reserve currency, I'm not saying that the new world reserve currency is going to be XRP. I think it's going to be a new world bridge currency, one of many world reserve digital assets. I do think that, but not the. When we talk about that, we're not saying it's going to be the world reserve current. That's never been the point. Now, for those of you that have never seen this, and remember, we're supposed to believe that this is all, all of a sudden, wait, China's way ahead of the U.S. and we can't, the U.S. has just been sitting around and watching China develop this and we just can't do anything about it. But meanwhile, at Harvard, at the Harvard Belfer Center back on November 20th of 2019, they're running a literal in the White House war game. And this is public right here, folks. This is what they were doing.
National Security Council's Principals Committee meeting at the White House. Our scenario takes place 2 years from today, on November 19th, 2021. We have simulated a world in which one big thing has changed. In March 2020, the People's Bank of China launched a sovereign digital currency known as the digital yuan.
We're hearing reports that North Korea may be using China's digital yuan currency to evade sanctions and purchase weapons material.
Well, the digital yuan is an opportunity for the North Koreans to break free of the American hold on dollar transactions.
We're in a tight spot. Our major means to contain and deter the North Koreans has been financial sanctions, and now that's imperiled by the fact that North Korea is accessing the digital yuan.
I wish I had...
By the way, he's on the board of, or an advisor to the Digital Currency Group, which is a part owner in Ripple. Now, Digital Perspectives, at Backup Bradley. Brad Combs sent me a piece of information that he got from Michael at VAL5 Links, who's also a follow. And this is this is from back in September of 2019, but there's a lot of new people that are watching now, and you need to see this. This is Swift GPI. This is Swift, their solution for going into the next generation of moving money around the world. It's called GPI for Financial Institution Transfers, Early Adopter Program for Service V2. I just wanted you to see I wanted you to see who's involved, who's at the table here. What are the benefits of GPI, and how could capital markets use this service? We carried out broad industry consultation, interviewing over 30 large capital markets institutions. Look at some of the institutions. BlackRock. Well, we know that the Robbie Mitchnick, who left Ripple, runs their digital asset business. BNY Mellon, I've told you all about them. We know that Standard Chartered is where Kahina Van Dyke left Ripple to go and is now a node on the network away from Ripple, according to Brad Garlinghouse. We know that Northern Trust is one of the investors in SBI, which owns part of Ripple. We know that State Street also is an owner in SBI, which owns part of Ripple. This, I believe, is a Ripple partner, as I recall. Don't quote me. Anyway, those are just the things I know off the top of my head. I think Deutsche Bank's a partner too. But these are the big boys. These are the ones involved. Now, let's go down and see what their game plan is. It looks like their game plan is to have things going in Q3 2020, but at the very end down here, let's see, let's check this one out. 2020 says V2 live 2020 in November. V2, whatever V2 means, but I guess version 2. Live 2020, go live November, December. And then at the bottom of this sheet, it says, wait, let me go think further. No. Let me go to right here. What you have to do, early adopter program, what you have to do, go live by the end of 2020, promote the solution. Now, what does this have to do with Ripple? This is what it has to do with Ripple. Blockchain, core to settler, Ripple, and Swift, a marriage. I don't even know how to say that word. IBM and Ripple, however, are not the only players in the blockchain payments world. Late last year, R3 launched its core to settler platform using Ripple's XRP. But here it comes. In January, Swift announced a partnership with R3. Were they collaborating to test core to settler? Specifically to integrate GPI with core to settler. However, as core to settler depends on XRP token, the partnership puts Swift and Ripple, the two rivals, in an indirect connection. Will that result in a love triangle or even a marriage? And could that work? And then you go down here. Swift GPI will integrate directly to core to settler, the application that allows participants on the core to blockchain to initiate and settle payments obligations via both traditional and blockchain-based rails. This will enable obligations created or represented on Corda to be settled via the large and growing Swift GPI network, R3 co-founder Todd McDonald. Now, for those of you that haven't seen it, this is a demonstration. I'm not going to play the video, but it's from R3, and it's a demonstration of how core to settler works, and it works with the XRP network. Now, what makes this interesting? There's one thing I've learned about having children, and that is that incentives are everything. In other words, my 8-year-old may respond to a candy incentive, where my 14-year-old may respond to the incentive of being able to keep his phone, because that's all he cares about. Now, but life is about incentives. And look at what their incentive. This is where Ripple and R3 settled their lawsuit. Let me show you what R3 a potential incentive for R3 to make sure XRP is used is. The lawsuit was over the option that R3 had, which gave it the right to buy 5 billion XRP at $0.0085 at any point until September 2019. This settlement was completely kept quiet. So we don't know what came out of it, but I can assure you that XRP had something to do with that settlement that was kept very quiet. And then on top of that, we also have, I've been hearing rumors for the last year, almost every week or so, about how Ripple could buy R3 or there could be some type of a merger. And that makes this interesting as well. Okay. Now, some other things. XRP Crypto Wolf, Binance is adding new trading pairs for the Australian dollar. That's for XRP, Australian dollar XRP. Good stuff. Then there's this from XRP Crypto Wolf. Kyoto University is hiring a technical assistant to maintain and manage XRP validators. The participation of companies and institutions like universities for XRP validator operations will lead to decentralization of the network, and it will continue to expand. This is something I've said for a long time. I believe that these validators are going to be run by universities around the world, by government institutions. We already know the SEC is going to be one of is going to run an XRP, one of these validators. It's going to be the banks. It's going to be the people that have skin in the game. But let's just look at the universities for a minute. This is the University Blockchain Research Initiative that Ripple's doing, and this Kyoto University is on that. So don't be surprised if you start to see some of these university names popping up running validators. Princeton University, Berkeley Haas, Korea University, University of, I don't even know how to say that word. I think this is Wharton, University of Oregon. Watch. My prediction is that you're going to start seeing these nodes just light up like a Christmas tree, not just with universities, but with banks, financial institutions, government entities like the SEC. Get ready for it, because I believe when everything's ready, when all systems are go, that's the way this goes down. Also, XRP Crypto Wolf, a $1.2 billion publicly traded company may start investing in Bitcoin and gold to avoid inflation. MicroStrategy told shareholders that it plans to invest $250 million in alternative investments that are showing strength, like gold, silver, Bitcoin. This was an interesting tweet right here. Look at this. It says, this is Spencer H. at Paul and Paul XRP. Can anyone say all the freaking money? Globally, 10 to 15 trillion SME cross-border payment flows, Ripple estimation. 100 to 150 billion is the revenue opportunity in largest emerging market corridors, Ripple estimation. Well, what is this document? Where is this from? That's what makes this interesting. And this person answered it. The report was released by the Arab Monetary Fund, authored by Habib Ashia. I guess that's how you say that. The section screenshotted is around page 50 to 51. That's what this is. All right. And then I wanted to show you a couple of interesting things that the wealthy people are doing. The first is from Ian Northing at Ian BINS. Jeff Bezos, this is showing where he sold $4 billion in Amazon stock on February 11th, and then the market tanked not too long after that. And it's showing that now he is again selling on, let me see if I can get that, August 6th, today, that he has sold $3 billion in Amazon stock. That's something to watch. If you think that these guys, look, the big boys, they get to know things that you and I don't get to know, and I can prove it. Look at this. This is the next piece I wanted to show you. So we covered this yesterday. Warren Buffett is banking on Bank of America. I'll show you a short portion of this.
Berkshire Hathaway betting big on Bank of America. Berkshire has been buying shares of the bank for 12 straight sessions and now has a roughly 12% stake in Bank of America. Shares have been under pressure this year, down 30%. So should you jump on the Buffett bandwagon? Karen, you're there.
Yeah, I'm there. I've been on it. I've been on the Buffett bandwagon.
Okay, I want to make one point here, folks. We are going into a complete financial nightmare. But I contend that when you see Warren Buffett doing this, that Warren Buffett knows that Bank of America is going to be one of the winners in this new terrible financial crisis that we are in. Even if they're not calling it that, this is bigger than the 2008 financial crisis. And we know from history, because we've got the history now. We didn't know it then. But when some people don't remember, in 2008, when the financial crisis happened, Warren Buffett was called up by Hank Paulson, who was the Treasury, I think he was the Treasury Secretary. I'll show you the article here in a second. They gave him a call and said, we need you to bail out. And of course, Goldman Sachs never wants to have it be said that they were bailed out, but they wanted Warren Buffett to buy some of their preferred stock. So look at this. This is the article from 2008. Buffett's Berkshire invests $5 billion in Goldman. In addition to the Oracle of Omaha's Berkshire stake, Goldman said it's raising $2.5 billion through common stock. Now, if you go down into this article, this is what Warren Buffett said about this. If I didn't think the government was going to act, I would not be doing anything this week, Buffett told CNBC Wednesday morning. It would be a mistake to be buying anything now if the government was going to walk away from the Paulson proposal. Last week will look like nirvana if they don't do something. Well, I saw the documentary. I can't remember if it was a documentary or if it was a drama about the financial crisis, but there's literally a scene in one of these documentaries, and I'll find out which one it is. There's a scene where Hank Paulson is on the phone telling Warren Buffett he needs his help and lets him know that if he makes the investment and buys the preferred stock in Goldman Sachs, that it's going to have the full backing of the U.S. government and that they're going to basically back up the investment. Well, you and I can't do that, but for some reason, they don't call that insider trading. So I tell you all that to tell you that, look, if you see Warren Buffett buying Bank of America, you better believe this guy, for some reason, he either knows something or knows that Bank of America has been chosen to be one of the winners in this disaster that we're in. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that Bank of America, you have to wonder, how are they going to be such a big winner in this? Because he thinks they are. Thanks for listening.